Mark and his family have been living under the same roof for over 2 decades. And now that 2 of his daughters are off to college, with the youngest following next year, it's time to make some necessary renovations, and that means a total roof makeover.
We've been at this home for 21 years, and it's a really special place for us. Our kids grew up here. Since my youngest daughter was, 1 year old is when we moved into this house. And it's just been a special place that's filled with memories, and we plan on being here for a long time to come. Our house was built in 1997, and obviously through the years we've had many storms come by. In particular, Hurricane Wilma did a real number on our roof, and we were having our house repaired then at that point from some of the hurricane damage. And since that time, there's been a couple of times where it's popped up and there's been leaks in certain areas of the home. And that's gotten progressively worse over the last few years to the point where literally I've walked in a couple of times and there's been raining in my butler's pantry and a few of the other areas of the house, and all of a sudden, we're pulling out buckets and stuff because there's leaks that are coming inside the home.
With leaks and broken shingles, it's time to bring in the professionals. Jason Blair from Aastro Roofing knows when it's time to repair and when it's time to replace.
Most people don't realize that a roof is probably the biggest investment you're going to make in your property, and potentially outside of buying a house. So the roof actually protects everything underneath it. I would say it's very important to get a roofing contractor, a certified licensed roofing contractor that's reputable, to come out to your property, inspect your roof before you do any interior renovations. So the last thing you want to do is spend thousands of dollars renovating the interior of your home and then find out you have a leak and you're going to have to redo some of that work and potentially spend thousands of dollars fixing your roof as well. So some of the signs that may show you need a new roof would be roofing debris laying in your yard, maybe roofing debris or granule surface material laying at the bottom of your downspouts. Usually after a storm, you want to look for some type of roof damage. Any type of high wind situation, you would definitely want to look for wind damage. And especially in South Florida, roofs that last a long time in other parts of the country typically aren't going to last that long in South Florida just because of the weather. And insurance also becomes a problem because insurance companies want you to switch your roof out roughly about every 20 years. So shingle roof systems can last 40, 50 years in other parts of the country. Usually we say it's about a 30-year lifespan here in Florida. Tile roofs can go 20 to 30 years. We always suggest after 20 years before repairing a tile roof, you should consider replacing. And metal roof, kind of that same time frame, 20 to 30 years. When researching a roofing company, I would definitely suggest to not just stop at the first page of Google. A lot of people just Google, roofing company near me, something to that effect, a nice keyword, my roof leaks, how do I fix it? I always say, if you're considering hiring a roofing company, some of the things you should consider other than what's written online is maybe visit the roofing company's place of business. Research everything, not just the good stuff, but try to dig up dirt on the roofing company. Look, if roofing companies are big and they do a lot of work, there's bound to be a little bit of dirt. But what we want to see is how a roofing company reacts to negative reviews by a customer. For us to be 4-star rated or something like that, that might be fine for other roofing companies, but that to me means that 1 out of every 5 customers is not happy. A lot of homes in South Florida are in a homeowners association, which would require board approval for an aesthetic change. So if we're gonna replace your roof, if you decide to replace your roof, then you will need approval from your homeowners association. It's typically a form that you have to fill out, and then we submit a sample of the tile that you're considering using, and they approve it, and then we submit it to the city for the permit process. Another thing that is kind of difficult in South Florida as opposed to the rest of the country is the permit process. Just because of the hurricanes and the codes that are put into place in South Florida, it's a little bit more stringent than everywhere else in the country, which drives up pricing a little bit, but it also, I think, puts a better product out to combat those wind events that we typically have a few times a year. Even outside of hurricanes, Florida typically sees high wind events at least a couple times a year.
What I'm most excited about is having our roof done is, first and foremost, is that the color that came with the roof when we first bought the house was not my favorite color. It's a green roof, And quite candidly is that the green roof limits us in our ability to paint the house very many colors. We're really relegated to yellow, or a form of yellow. And so I am really excited about the fact that it's going to beautify the home and give us lots of options to update and refresh the home. And then besides that, I'm excited about the fact that we won't have leaks waking up in the, there's a storm and next thing you know, you hear dripping in the house, and the protection from, the hurricanes in the future, to have a house that actually has a modernized roof that's less susceptible to, having more damage done in a storm.
So we originally met with Mark a few months back, and he was having issues with his roof leaking. He lives in a beautiful area in Boca Raton, Florida, beautiful home. So we came out, we found that some of his flashing was leaking and kind of an intricate, complicated area on his roof. His roof is more than 20 years old, so we sat down, we had a conversation about should we replace, should we fix it, what do you think we should do? Mark made the decision to go ahead and replace the roof because of the age. And he's got a beautiful house. He wants to protect the property, obviously protect it for the coming storm season. And what happened was he was having leaking coming in, so when it rained, it was basically raining in his house. The city of Boca Raton is one of the more difficult municipalities to traverse as far as the permitting and inspection process goes. They're very stringent on their process, and it's kind of unique to the rest of the area.
Now that Mark has chosen his tile and design, Aastro Roofing can begin the first phase of the project, tearing off the old roof.
Once we remove the underlayment, we can see the damage to the wood decking, the damage to the fascia, the wood trim, the siding and flashing areas. That's when we can understand exactly how much wood replacement that would be necessary to complete the job.
It's time for the best part, installation. With the help of ABC Supply, we've gathered all the materials needed to start.
So the underlayment is very important just because, for one, it keeps your house waterproof, 100% waterproof. The reason we chose Tag and Stick is because it's a premium style product. It's modified and it's synthesized so that it will stand up to the test of time. The 30-year guarantee. It has great exposure rating. Also, as far as application-wise, it's user-friendly to install, and it decreases the margin of error for our installers.
Coming up, the big reveal. Aastro Roofing is putting on the last few tiles, which means it's almost time to show Mark his brand new roof.
All right, so let's check it out.
Okay.
You got your brand new Crown Florida blended roof. Wow. So it's a 3-color blend. You can see the eave closure matches beautifully. Everything turned out really good. The mortar work looks nice.
This is just incredible. I mean, look at the beauty of this roof.
It's a complicated house, man. You have a big, beautiful house. I mean, it's a lot of ins and outs, a lot of intricacies involved with the roof itself. And to build this correctly is, it's not easy, and it can turn into a nightmare if you don't have the right guys out here. So I'm really glad that it turned out how we thought it was going to. And I'm glad you're happy. I mean, that's the main thing.
This is just incredible. I mean, when I look at this roof, it just changes the whole look of the house. Like, we obviously need to still paint the home and do some things there, but just by putting a new roof on it, almost looks like we painted the house and we did a bunch of new stuff,
well,
right?
You definitely increased the value tremendously, and your insurance premiums are definitely going to go down right away, so you start getting benefits from that. The roof is probably going to be a little bit more energy efficient because we vented it properly as well. And this is a 50-year roof. It'd be difficult to get that out of South Florida.
Right.
But realistically, to get somewhere between 30 and 40 years with proper roof maintenance and care, I think that's where you'll end up here.
And you guys knocked it out of the park on this, so thank you so much. I appreciate you, man. I appreciate your team.
Thank you, Mark.
Thanks a lot. Wow, this is incredible.
And just like that, Aastro Roofing, along with ABC Supply and Crown Tile, took this old broken roof and made it brand new. If you'd like more information or are looking for a roofing consultation, visit astroroofing.com or watch this segment again at designingspaces.tv.